Welcome everyone, my name is Zan Ta with Revit Products. Today's video is on Autodesk Collaboration for Revit. In this video, we will cover all the ins and outs of Collaboration for Revit from both the administration side and the end user side. Our agenda will do a quick look at Revit Products as a company and our offerings. We'll then get into Collaboration for Revit. We'll look at what it is. Why do you use it? How does it work? What are the system requirements? And the pros and cons. After the PowerPoint presentation, we'll go into the software directly and look at how the software functions from both the administration side with the hub access and setup, and then also from the end user side and working from inside and outside of the Revit application. Revit Products has been around for quite some time, over 35 years, and we have a very diversified company. There are a lot of offerings within our company. We have a complete printing and production division downstairs. We are multiple reseller vendors for Xerox, Canon, OSE, Autodesk obviously, Faro, and a few others. We do all of the digital plan room as well. We have a Autodesk software and training division where we sell and support all of the Autodesk products. I am one of 4 application engineers who helps in that arena. We have a Faro laser scanning division where we use the machines to head out to job sites for our clients, and we scan the existing conditions. We also have a small format, wide format division, MFD division that sells and supports all the different types of printers and multi-use devices on your desktop. We have a sister company as well called the Color Spot, and they have quite a unique function as well, and they do quite a bit of vehicle wraps and signage and wayfaring and things like that. If you are local to our office, which is in Smyrna, and you'd like to do a quick tour, stop by anytime and ask anybody to stop what they're doing and they can help you out.
There's a new reality in building design. These days, it's more important than ever that architects, design professionals, engineers, and project stakeholders can communicate and collaborate effectively. However, tools like email, SharePoint, FTP, and cloud storage sites create data silos, leading to miscommunication and inefficiencies in project delivery. Design teams need to be able to efficiently work on the same models and also share models and designs with the entire team, including non-Revit designers such as project managers, principals, consultants, and clients. But until now, the challenge has been how to do this effectively. Collaboration for Revit plus BIM 360 Team is the solution. With Collaboration for Revit plus BIM 360 Team, project teams can work more effectively using a design process that brings everyone together in a single central workspace to collaborate and perform real-time design reviews. Collaboration for Revit plus BIM 360 Team allows full teams, consultants to clients, to be in the design loop from wherever they are. This access speeds review cycles so iterations can happen quicker and projects are delivered more efficiently. Using the Collaboration for Revit cloud service, designers from multiple firms or locations can model and communicate in real time within shared building information models hosted in the cloud. Integration with BIM 360 Team makes it easy for all stakeholders to instantly access a view of the latest model and project design information. While the core design teams are working in Revit, with Collaboration for Revit enabling concurrent authoring on the model, extended stakeholders use BIM 360 Team to access a view of the same model to review designs, provide markups, make suggestions, give approvals, or engage in secure real-time reviews. And they can access BIM 360 Team from whatever device is most convenient, desktop to laptop to tablet to smartphone, making decisions together as a single design team from any location. Collaboration for Revit plus BIM 360 Team. It's how you enable collaboration with everyone on your team to design, review, iterate, and deliver great work together.
So let's take a look at Collaboration for Revit. It is a central location, cloud-based, that allows you to place all of the content up there in any type of file, any type of format, in multiple folders and subfolders. And you can basically use it as a communication tool to ensure that everybody, all the stakeholders on a project, are connected and talking to each other and understand the full scope of the project with various file formats and collaborative tools. When we talk about Revit and the actual model and working in this kind of vein, the traditional work sharing capability allows you to have multiple people working on a single Revit model with other local models in a local area network. When we start pushing the envelope and getting to a wide area network situation, then we start introducing things like Revit Server. And if we go beyond that, where we have multiple people in multiple firms of different firms and different stakeholders, for example, architects and structural engineers and MEP engineers, we need a better collaborative tool. So for the Revit collaboration for Revit, all of this is hosted in the cloud, and it makes it easier for everybody to get to, and there's less IT infrastructure and headache to deal with. If we take a look at the Revit engine and the application and how it functions for collaboration for Revit, what actually happens is that there is a Revit Server accelerator that's installed on your workstation as you install collaboration for Revit, which is already included in the Revit application. The system will obviously take a look at all of the local cache data and the delta cache data and ensure that the delta transfers are what's moving back and forth quickly and easily. All the changes are obviously pre-fetched. In other words, every 2 minutes the data is transferring back and forth to ensure that the latest information is readily available. And it's only working obviously with any cached data. When we're working in this collaboration for Revit environment, we now don't have to worry about everybody being in a single firm. It could be the architects in Chicago, it could be the structural engineers in Boston, it could be the MEP engineers in another firm somewhere across the continent. And everybody can get in and jump and work on that collaboration for Revit model, as well as the hub itself. One of the key factors in this engine is the Communicator Tool, which sits within the Revit application. And within this Communicator panel, you have the ability to access your project, to do chat back and forth to those within the project and outside the project. You have the ability to take screenshots and transfer that data back and forth to communicate better. And then obviously a whole host of other features, which we'll get into when we look at the software. In regards to the system requirements, it is a subscription-based service, so you must have your software on subscription. You must have web access because this is cloud-based. The cost is roughly $800 per user per year. And that cost is only attributed to those who are having to author the Revit model. In other words, if I am an end user who needs to open up Revit, open up that collaboration for a Revit model, and make changes to that model, then I would be considered an author who is a Revit author that needs the full functioning C4R capability, and that is the $800 cost. If you are an end user who does not need to touch the Revit model from the Revit application, but needs to just look at the entire project as a whole, there is no cost in the sense of collaboration for Revit. There is the BIM 360 team functionality, which is the hub side, and that, as I understand, has changed from an initial cost of $0 to I think $120 or $130 a year now. All you need to do is just double check with your account representative and they can give you specifics on the cost. In regards to collaboration for Revit, it is built into Revit 2017 and 2018 by default. If you're running an older version, 16, 15, or 14, you will need to install the add-in, which you can get through subscription and through your Autodesk desktop application. It is an entitlement within subscription, like I said before, so you need to make sure that it is set up, it's purchased, and it's set up properly for the particular end users. And we'll get into all of this a little later. Lastly, the local workstations need to obviously meet Revit system requirements. And I would highly suggest that your Revit systems and desktops are built at an optimal level. There are some pros and cons, obviously, with collaboration for Revit and any other application. Good positives about collaboration for Revit: it is not domain specific, it's not company specific, so it can be for anybody, and anybody and everybody can use it, no matter who they are, no matter what discipline they are, no matter what office they're located in, or where they are on the planet. There is no IT infrastructure rework. In other words, you don't have to worry about getting IT involved, in regards to setting up servers and firewalls and everything else. And that gets to be pretty, a big ordeal, especially if you're a company who can't afford to have an IT network administrator at every single office location. It's easy to collaborate, it's easy to work with, it's easy to communicate with anybody on the entire team, not just the MEP and structural engineers, but also the owner and the vendors and anybody else who has to be involved in the project. Now, obviously, there are some negatives, and the first obviously is you have to have web access. So most companies this day and age have a decent pipeline at their office, and we're talking 100 meg or higher. For example, our office is running, if I remember correctly, 300 megs up and down, which is enough for our office. But surprisingly, a lot of people who work out of their home are using gigabit fiber connections now, and that's way more than enough to give you the functionality that you need. If you do lose web access, then you have to have some IT protocols in place to take care of that. It is a subscription-based account, and so if you're not on subscription, then you can't use it. So you need to make sure you're on subscription, and you need to make sure it's set up properly. There is, in regards to the multidiscipline model communication, that basically means that for those who need to work with the Revit model itself and make changes, everybody who has to do this must have Revit. If you're not and you just want to look at the model and look at the data on the hub, you can do so without the software. And then saving to central will require, obviously, and be dependent upon your speed. And if you, for example, if your speed at home is a DSL speed, then it's only going to go so fast in regards to saving the changed data. So at this point, I'm going to switch modes. I'm going to end the PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to jump into Revit and take a look at collaboration for Revit, initially from the team administrator level, and then from the end user access workflow level. So here I am in Revit 2018, and the first thing we're going to talk about is collaboration for Revit from the administration side. Now, to set this up properly, you actually don't work from within Revit. You want to set up or join a BIM 360 team hub and collaboration for Revit. There are 3 ways to do so. One is through the trial. So if you head over to Autodesk's website and head over to the trial side, you can download a trial and set up a hub. This is the actual BIM 360 team and collaboration for Revit sign up page. You can enter your email address and click submit, and it will go through the process of building one for you. The second is to go to a person's hub that you've been joined to, and you can click in and get into one. And then lastly is through the Autodesk account. When you go through your Autodesk account, you have to log in as the contract administrator. Here I am in manage.autodesk.com. I've logged into the Autodesk account, and the contract administrator is not me, it's my coworker. And so in here, you can do a search for all of your software and look for collaboration for Revit. Once you see it in here, that basically lets you know that you have collaboration for Revit purchased and is within the Autodesk account, so you can start working. And you can see that I have them here as well. If I click inside here and open up the drawer, you'll see how many seats that you have and the serial number and the product key. Now that you know your assets are within the Autodesk account site, you can head over to the users and then start placing the rights and the usage of Collaboration for Revit to those users. For example, here I can click Edit Access, and within my Edit Access window, it will list all of the products I am entitled to use. And you'll see, if you look under the contracts, you'll see Collaboration for Revit is assigned for those contracts, and you just have to scroll down and take a look at all the products and specify the Collaboration for Revit is inside your account. Now, once you've done this from the administration and user side, what you have initially done is you have told the software that you want to set it up for a particular user so that they can actually open up the Revit model, Collaboration for Revit model from within Revit. When we head over to the actual hub that has the site and everything, this is ours, it's Repo Products, but yours will be your company name, .autodesk360.com. And in here it will list all of the hubs it will list all of the projects that you own. You can specify and filter based upon pinned, or show all of the projects that you have, or the ones that are owned by you, or shared, or archived. I have one that I have created in here for the demonstration purposes. And so if I click the BIM 360 Team C4R demo, it'll open up that project. And in this project, you can set up as many folders and subfolders and upload as much content as you need. And for example, if I head over to schematic design stage, you'll see a whole bunch of folders and subfolders, and you can select any one that you want to download, to copy or move from one project to another, or even to delete. If you're in a folder and you go into a subfolder, for example under PDFs, you'll see all the files that you have. You can put your mouse over the name of the file and you can click this little pencil and you can edit the name. You can also see that there is a version. So each time you each time you upload the file, you'll see there'll be different versions and it'll say V1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You can share, you can download, and you can always upload a new version, copy, move, or delete. You can click this upload button here to upload a folder, a file, an assembly, or even from Dropbox if you need to. And you can create a new folder by clicking this icon. You can change the display from list to grid if you need to as well. And you'll see the pathing of where you are in the particular project. So you can always click home to get back to the main hub if you need to. So how do I set up a project for a new one? So I can click Create Project, and it'll ask you to give it a name. You can call it whatever you want, and you can give it an image, and click Create Project. When you do so, it basically takes your server and creates a new folder. And in here, you have no content. So you can go ahead and upload files that you need, or upload folders that you need, or create new folders. So for example, I can click New Folder and put in here Conceptual Design. And it creates the folder. You can click Upload and upload a file, and you can pick any file you want, and it gets pushed up. You can click Upload Folder and go to any folder that you want, and I'll just pick the Autodesk folder and click OK. Once I've done this, that folder and all the content that's within that folder gets uploaded automatically. So a quick tip, if you want to make it easier for you to set up your hub to mimic that of, say, your server at the office, create your root folder on the server at the office and all your subfolders and everything that you need, and push all the data into that server. And then when you're ready, take that one main root folder and push it up, and then it'll be duplicated, if you will. So it's very easy to upload folders and files. Now let's head back over to my BIM 360 Team project, because I have files in here for us to work with. You'll notice over here on the right hand side you have a little panel, and there's a details section and an activity section. The details section gives you the name of the particular project that you're in. It will tell you how many folders and subfolders you have and what type of project it is. You can click follow so that any changes that occur to that project are automatically emailed to you. And you can also pin the project if you need to as well. You can click this little cogwheel here as well, and it will take you directly to the hub project itself. There is a list of members that are inside the project that are showing up here, and you can always see their roles, and you can see if you want to invite more. You can click edit. You can click invite, and you can invite up to 500 people or so, or even more, to your particular project. All you need to do is input their name, and for example, if I go in here and I put in this, I can then specify their role, and I can click send invitation. And once that's done, it'll tell you up here in the middle of the screen, top middle, it says the email invitation has been sent. That particular end user, once he or she receives the email, they can click the link and they'll get into the hub as that particular user and that role. You can click view and manage members down here in the lower right hand corner, and it will give you a list of who the project members are and any join requests as well, and also invite from here. You can click activity, and it will list all the activity that's occurred in the entire hub. So any kind of activity, uploads, downloads, changes, you name it, and it will describe and list it here. If you want to, that's the data tab. That's the folder that you're in that has all the content. You can click calendar, and it will take you to an HTML-based basic calendar that everybody can get to, and you can input the data that you need. As of such, there is no way to link your Microsoft Outlook calendar to this calendar, as far as I can tell. And then there's also a discussion. And under the discussion, you can see that you can start a new discussion and put in whatever title you want and put a description of that particular discussion. Please help with the new design. Click post, and that discussion is created, and anybody can reply, and anybody can type whatever they want and hit post, and there your discussion is there. You have a main horizontal dark blue toolbar up here, and that gives you access to not just your hub, but it gives you access to your A360 Drive account as well, which is a separate set of servers, and it has a separate set of data that you can get access to. And you can take the data that's over here on your A360 Drive, and if necessary, copy it or move it to your BIM 360 Team Hub Drive, which they call in general A360. You can also click Design Graph, and this is a fairly new site where it gives you the ability to search anything that you have within your hub, and it will list and show the content. And so you can select the entity, and you can see what is the entity and where does it reside on a particular project or hub. This tool, I think, is much more attuned to those who are in the manufacturing side of things, where they have assemblies and parts and things like that. Now I'm going to head back over to the A360 side and head back to our sample project. You have a search field here that you can click and type whatever you want, and it'll help you basically search for that data within your particular hub and folders. You have notifications and calendar and progress information to help you see what has happened already. You have alerts here that give you any alerts that you have read or have not read. You have the help, and then you have your actual account. So if you click this icon, it'll give you who you are, your account, your settings, and admin. And it will also tell you which hub you are signed into and your entitlements, as well as others that you may have access to. If I click My Account, it'll open up another tab, and it'll take you to your profile, and you can edit and access your profile if you need to. If you click Settings, your tab will change to the Settings portion of your hub, and it will list what time zone you're in and show you the A360 drive data if you need to. And it will list all the different hubs and what role, status, and type you have. And then lastly, you can click Admin. And from here, you can specify the name of the hub for your company, the project contributors, and the team members. You can head over to Members and Roles, and it will list all the members and who has been invited, any pending invitations, any sent invitations. Okay. And then you have the projects that list every single project in your hub, whether they're active or inactive, whether they're closed or open, who created it, when was it created, and what their current status is. Okay. And then lastly, your subscriptions, and it lists what your subscription contract numbers are and when do they start, and renewal and capabilities. So I'm going to head back to our hub and head back to the test project. Now here in this test project that I'm working with, I have schematic design stage folder. I have a whole bunch of other folders, but most of the stuff for demonstration purposes are here. Depending on the type of file that you're looking at and you want to play with and work with, will dictate the functionality of how the BIM 360 Team Hub functions. For example, if I take a look at AutoCAD DWG files, I can pick a particular file and click it, and it will automatically try to open up that file in the universal HTML5 viewer for this particular software. And you can see that you have model content, and it tries to load it, and you have sheet layout content as well, and it tries to load that as well. And depending on if the data is loaded successfully or uploaded properly, you have your data. You have a navigation toolbar down here that gives you functionality, basic functionality, panning, camera setups, marking things up, making comments, printing, layer manager, you name it. And you'll also notice your pathing of where you're sitting. This overview button here allows you to click the icon and it switches from overview to view, and it basically shows you the data that you're looking for. You can share, you can download, and you can copy, move, or delete. When you share, you can do a regular standard sharing, or you can do live review. Live review is when you're telling the software, set up a session so that this file can be looked at by multiple people on multiple devices, and only one person can be in control, and that way everybody can see what's happening. I'm going to head back to our hub, or back to our project, head back to schematic design subfolder, and look at a different file type. We'll take a look at images. So if I grab an image like this one, it'll open up that file and display that data quickly and easily. If I look at PDF files, I can pick any file that I want, and that PDF file will open up within the viewer. It'll tell you the version that you're working with, and depending again on the type of file, you may or may not have certain functionality. You have full screen mode down here in the lower right corner. You have zooming in and zooming out functionality as well. And depending on the size of the file will dictate how long it takes to open up the document. And as you can see, this PDF file is fairly large because it's still processing. Let's jump over to a different file type. Let's look at Revit Families. If I look at a particular family, let's try, I don't know, this mirror. And if I select the file, it'll have to process the file initially for the first view. And once it's done, then I can see that file. So we may come back to that. Let's look at, they even have Sketchup files too. You can upload Sketchup files and take a look at the content. Let's look at this one. And so you can see it's trying to generate that view, and you can see that information. And again, depending on the file type that you're working with, you may be able to rotate or zoom in or out or pan, and then you can get into things like marking it up. So with the markup tools, we can use the line tools, we can use different shapes, we can use different color as well, and then text as well as line styles. and picking what we want to work with. Okay. And when you're done, you hit save and it saves that information and it creates a markup and it gives a number for that particular markup as well, so it's easy to get to. I can just click that number and it automatically takes me back to that particular markup. If we take a look at obviously Revit files, the Revit collaboration for Revit model, the central model. This file that you see up here is a published static version of the collaboration for Revit model that every Revit authoring team member works on. And what I mean by a static model is that within Revit, when you're working with the collaboration for a Revit model, you can publish a static instance of it so that anybody else in the project who is not a Revit authoring user can go to the hub and select that file and look at that particular version and instance. So here you see V3, so that's the third version that has been published and pushed up. I can pick that file and it will open up the Revit file. Depending on how big the Revit file, it may take a second or two, but again, once you see it, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. You can pan, you can orbit and rotate. Again, you can also mark up as well. So maybe I'll do a markup over here and hit save, and it automatically saves it and tags it as a particular markup instance. Once that's done, you can also put in comments. You can do exploded view if you need to. You can turn sectioning on. You can look at the property data. So let's say I put in a comment. I'll comment at a point, say right over here. And that comment will basically say verify roof type. And click post. And there you go. You can click exploded model and you can use the slider to explode the model into separate components. I guess this is for visual effect. You can use the section analysis tool to add a section plane in X, Y, or Z. And once you've done so, you can use the arrows or the rotational axis planes to rotate the plane that's the cutting plane. And you can use the arrows to adjust its position and movement. So you can get an idea of what the model looks like if it's getting sectioned up. You can click Properties and pick an entity, and you can look at the property data of that entity as well. You do have the ability to get into the settings of the viewer and adjust things as you need. So from the admin side, it's not that terribly difficult to set up folders and subfolders and push data up there. So now let's take a look at it from the end user side. I'm going to switch over here to Revit. And when you're in Revit, in the recent files window, you'll notice some of the icons that you work with that show the recent files. Those that have little clouds like this in the lower right corner are a visual indicator to let you know these are the collaboration for Revit models. So I can just click it and it will open up that particular model. Now that the model is opened up, I can start working with it. And you'll notice that there is no opening a local model. You're just opening up that collaboration for a Revit model. What actually is happening is you are opening a local model of the central model. It isn't a typical local model that you find on your laptop or desktop under My Documents or wherever. It's a whole bunch of database files that are buried deep, if you will, into your computer. And so it's not the typical thing that you can look at and get to. In any event, you have your collaboration for a Revit model open. The communicator opens up directly, tells you the project that you're in. You can use these tools to send an instant message to anybody and everybody in the team. You can send an email to everybody in the team, and you can click this icon here to jump straight to the actual hub project itself, and it takes you to that hub. Okay. Now here it's going to list who the end users are and whether they're in or not. So I'm in and I'm green, but I can also go in here and change the status if I need to as well to be set up as available or busy. This cogwheel controls the communicator and how it functions, whether it's always displaying on top or whether it launches when you're opening up the cloud model, which is on by default. You have this icon here for your projects, and it's not just the active project, but it's all the other projects you have access to. So that way you can get to that particular end user within that project to chat back and forth. You have a list of categories of contacts, you have all your chat messages, and you have a progress indicator to let you know what's happening as you're working with the model. So for example, if I'm here under the messaging aspect of it, I can click any user and I can start chatting back and forth. Please verify this platform design change and hit enter, and it automatically pushes that message to that particular user. So when that user logs in, he or she will see that information automatically. Within this window, I can click this little icon to send an image, and I can go get any image that I want. So for example, if I go under Autodesk and I pick this logo and I hit open and then I hit enter, that image is automatically pushed up as a message to that particular user. I can click capture the screen, and then I can do a window crossing like this and then hit capture, and it automatically captures that and says here is the area in question, and I hit enter and it gets pushed up. I can also click send a file, and I can pick a file, hit open, and it automatically pushes that file up to that person. I can save and export the chat history as well. So in this chat history, be very careful, because everything that you do that's in this history stays in here. It doesn't get deleted. You can't delete it. And so for record purposes, be cautious, because I know a lot of end users, when we get into working every day and we're chatting back and forth with each other and doing work, it's chatting one thing about the project is one thing, but chatting about sports or, what happened to so-and-so the night before, those kind of things are not appropriate for this communicator panel, because it will get recorded. I'm going to head back over to the active projects, and you can see again, here's your data. Now, from a Revit author, and I'm in Revit, and I have this central model, I can go ahead and work with the content that I need to work with. If I head over to the Collaborate tab of the ribbon, you'll see I have the Communicator panel, the Communicator command, any editing requests, and my work sets. And so if I click work sets, you'll see none of them are checked out. I don't have control of any of them. So if I go in and I choose the structural and I say yes to this one, I become the owner, and I'll click OK. And it'll ask if I want to make it active. I'll say yes. And if I select this slab, you'll notice that the icon doesn't pop up, which means it's part of that work set, which means I can edit that boundary immediately. And I don't have to worry about placing a borrowing request. I'll finish the work, and the work is saved. It's done. I hit save, and it saves the model. If I hit save to central, you'll notice that the data gets pushed up to the A360 Team Hub, and I can click OK, and it saves it. I also get a progress indicator, as well as the communicator progress panel adjusting and showing me synchronization is complete. If I select this handrail, you'll notice that this handrail is not part of my structural work set, so I can click this icon to place a request and make it and be able to function and work with it. I'm going to go ahead over to the work sets and click architectural and make that the owner. That way I can actually work with it instead of opening up another session of Revit and changing the username and making design adjustments accordingly. So as you can see now, I can actually modify this object without worrying too much about borrowing again. I'll close the file, and I can either save locally or not save, and then relinquish all my control as I typically do. When we're in the actual Revit project inside your Revit software, under the Collaborate tab, you also have Synchronize with Central. You have Reload Latest. You can relinquish all your control. But more importantly, we have a Manage Models panel. In here, I can click Publish Settings, and it will give me the information that it shows that's what's getting published up to the hub. And you can check and uncheck whatever data that you want. When we go to Manage Cloud Models, it'll open up the Manage Cloud Models window. And in here, I can go to the particular hub that I'm working with, and you'll see the actual Revit file. Now, you have an icon here to publish that latest model if I need to. So if I click it, it'll want to push up the latest version to the hub, and the previous one I think was V3, so the new one will be V4. We'll click Publish, and it will get published. We can work while this is functioning. We also can rename, relinquish, view versions, or delete if we have to. Okay. And so while this is getting pushed up, we can do whatever work we need to with this Revit file, and it functions the same way as whether you're working with a standard Revit model or a Revit model with work sharing set up on a local area network or a wide area network. It's all the same. Okay, the only slight difference is if I say File Open, and I go to open up the file, I can go to the BIM 360 icon here, and that takes me to the hub. And I can go to that particular hub and pick that file. You'll notice that Create New Local is grayed out. It doesn't get bold. It doesn't have a check mark. You automatically just open up the file. Or you can use All Editable or Specify to open up the particular work sets as well. That's the only slight change in how you open up the model. But other than that, it's the same. Okay. And let me double check if there's anything else that I've missed. Give me 1 second. So that's how you use BIM 360 collaboration for Revit to access a hub, upload content, and start working with a Revit model. Now, what if you're the administrator and your project manager came over to you and said, I need to take this existing regular Revit model and make it a collaboration for Revit model to be used by everybody up on the hub. So in other words, you work on a project initially, it got it to a certain point, and instead of the project manager saying, okay, let's go ahead and make work sharing capable and put it on our file server so everybody can work internally, he's saying, let's make it set up for C4R. How do I do this? What you do is you take the Revit model that you're working with, so I'm just going to open up this one and use this as a starting sample file. I'll take this and I'll save this to my temp folder just in case I don't want to destroy this file, and I'll call it Modern Hotel Test C4R. This is a regular Revit model. There's no work sets, no work sharing is set up, nothing like that. I'll head over to the Collaborate tab of the ribbon, and in here I can click Collaborate. I'll click Collaborate, and it will initially tell me with a window, do I want to collaborate within my network or in the cloud? If I say within my network, it's for standard work sharing within a local area network or along a wide area network. Collaborating using the cloud is C4R. Now, real quick before we do this, if I go to the options of the software, you'll notice that my username is grayed out. My username by default in Revit is set up to be my Windows username, but if I have logged into my Autodesk account through the information toolbar in the upper right hand corner, you'll notice that that username in this options window will change to match that of the end user name in the Autodesk account. If you are using collaboration for Revit, you will want to log into your Autodesk account first and make sure that the username is set up to match. Then you can work this way. It just makes more logical sense. But if you're working on a Revit model with work sharing capability from a local area network or wide area network methodology, then don't initially log in, because that way the local models will take on the end user's name. So back again over here under Collaborate, I'll click Collaborate in the Cloud, click OK, and it automatically tells me, hey, you're about to create a new Revit C4R model. This is the name of the model. What project do you want me to put it in? I'll put it under Test 2. I'll hit Initiate, and it will go through the process of building the C4R model and getting things set up for you. It'll give you a little window that says collaborate using the cloud, and in here it'll display starting the work sharing, uploading the model, and saving to the cache. So once this is finished, then we can set up work sets however we normally do it. We can set up initial work sets for, say, the exterior shell, the interior, the vertical, horizontal support, circulation, the support spaces, whatever work sets that we want to set up. That's what we do next. So let's give this a second. So now, as you can see, the collaborate using the cloud window shows all green check marks and everything is set up properly. I'll click close, and then from here I can go to work sets, and I can add as many work sets as I want. And click OK. And you'll notice that it just functions and works. And so when you're all said and done, you click Save, and your local model is saved. If you hit Save to Central, it will automatically take it up to that site and hit OK, and it'll save the data. Again, you'll also notice that your window that gives you information as to how it's progressing shows up, and then when it's finished, it will disappear. If I click my communicator icon, the communicator panel will open up, and now the Test 2 project is showing, and it shows that I'm there. I can also click the progress level, and it'll show that it's been synced with Central. I'll close the file, and I'll relinquish all control. So as an end user, I can either just click the icon, or I can click Open, click BIM 360 Team, go to a particular hub that I want, and then just open up the model. And I start working. And that's it. That's a detailed presentation on collaboration for Revit, what it is, how does it function, how to set it up from the administrator side and the end user side, and how to work with the applications, both inside and outside of Revit. Thank you very much for watching.